Welcome back into Tapped Out here on the BetQL Network. I'm the sports machine, Sean Levine. That's Brendan Tobin. And now let's welcome in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Of course, UFC 291. He'll be taking on Michel Pereira. Dude, how do you approach a guy like this? Because you're a unique fighter, but he's, dare I say, maybe even got a more unique style than you.
Yeah, man. We both have a karate background. He also has a capoeira background. So it is a little bit different, a little bit more acrobatic, but you've seen him do that in the past. But I think he's definitely gotten smarter in his last fights because he kind of tended to get a little exhausted during the fights because of that. So I think he's going to be a little bit smarter going into this fight. Maybe less of the running and flipping and flying kneeing, but I do feel like he might do a little bit of it, but not quite as much as you've seen in the past, just to conserve energy because the altitude. We're up at Salt Lake City, with the altitude's a little bit different, a little bit higher up. So, I think he's going to do a little bit of it, but I'll be ready for it, baby.
I was going to ask you about that, Wonderboy, because speaking with Poirier's trainers, they said they took like some extra precautions to deal with the altitude. Do you do anything? Like, do you do anything, or you kind of just let it fly? You've been in the game for a long time. Do you worry about altitude at all?
No, and you have to. I have an altitude chamber at home that I sleep in. I'm sleeping about around 10,000 feet above sea level. It's different being in it 24/7 though. So we got out here like a week early just to get acclimated and get used to the altitude. And I think a lot of the smart fighters out there did that. They did exactly that. They got here early. They got acclimated to the altitude, and they're ready to rock and roll. So you have to be ready for that anywhere you go. So anywhere I go around the country or around the world, I'm checking how high that altitude is.
Yo, I should know this, but who gave you that nickname? How'd you become Wonderboy?
Oh man, dude, I was 15 years old. I looked like I was 12. I had my first kickboxing fight, and I fought a guy who was like 20-0. He was like 25 or 26 years old, and I beat the brakes off the guy. And after the fight, the announcer asked my opponent what he thought about this Stephen Thompson kid, and he said, "I wondered why I stepped in the ring with this boy." And the announcer called me Wonderboy, and it just stuck with me ever since.
Sick. BT, you're muted, by the way.
Wonderboy, that last fight that you had, I was at that for you versus Kevin Holland. I like this gentleman's agreement of no takedowns with you, man. Like I think that needs to be a thing going forward because your styles are so fun. I do feel like it's a fan friendly thing. Like, do you wish there was, I guess, more upon that as strikers, or do you understand like it is what it is with guys who don't want to deal with a guy as dangerous as you on the feet all the time, like Kevin Holland would?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's smart. I mean, you have Bilal and Burns, even though it's not the most exciting way to win the fight, it does, it got him the W. So I had to go back and work on some things. So, even with the agreement that me and Kevin Holland had, it was kind of like an unwritten thing that we had. He still decided to shoot in later on in the round. So I expect that out of everybody who decides to say that they're going to stand and bang with me. I feel like at some point they're going to shoot in. And Michel, being a bigger welterweight, he's a big welterweight. He's very strong, physically strong. I feel like he's going to try to use that body and that strength against me by trying to clinch me up. So we've worked a lot on the clinch work during the camp. And wherever the fight goes, we'll be ready for it.
Everybody over the years, it feels like, is considered the best base for mixed martial arts to be either jiu-jitsu or wrestling. As a karate guy, do you feel like that kind of gets a bad rap a little bit?
I mean, no. I mean, it really depends on what style of karate that you're doing. There's so many different styles of karate. Like our Kempo style, we do the wrestling, we do the grappling, we do the striking. It's just a different striking than what most people see, and it's exciting to watch. But I at some point, if you do train in any kind of martial arts, you have to have some grappling in there. Got to. I mean, 99.9% of the time in a street situation, you're going to end up on the ground. So you have to have the grappling and being able to defend the takedown or get back up to your feet or go to a grappling position to help control somebody if you needed to. So the grappling is very important.
We had to pick Wonderboy coming into the year, our future champions, right? And I was fresh off the high of your fight, and I'm like, you know what? Wonderboy versus Leon Edwards, that's an amazing fight. I mean, like, you guys for the belt, that feels like it would be incredible. I went and I said, like, I think Wonderboy could do it. I feel like that's definitely a fight that he can win.
Dude.
I picked you. Like, I didn't want to,
thanks, man. Let's go.
But how far off do you think that is, Wonderboy? Like, you were a perennial title contender. You are one of the best guys in the weight class. And damn, I feel like you versus Leon is a kick-ass fight. So yes, you mentioned some of the grapplers there, but like, as a fan's fan, I want to see you versus Leon, dude. Like, I feel like it shouldn't be that far off for you. How far do you think that path to the title would be for you to get back in there to fight for the strap?
Oh man, I think with a good win over Michel Pereira, I think probably one more, man. I think we could do it because there's guys. Most of the guys in the top right now are grapplers or wrestlers, and I think Leon would want to fight somebody, maybe a striker for once, get somebody to go out there and put on a show. I mean, he's a great mixed martial artist, which one of the only guys to be able to take Kamaru Usman down and control him in the first round. So his grappling getting better too. But I feel like he would want to fight somebody who's going to keep the fight standing, which is what you normally saw when you saw Leon Edwards fight, especially in the beginning. So you saw the evolution of him. So I think he would be excited about that fight more than he would a grappler. So I think maybe if he gets that win over Colby Covington, I might be next, man. You never know.
I mean, that would be a sick one. Wonderboy, like, he's, had obviously the kick, heard around the world against Usman. You've had sick walk-off knockout kicks. What is the difference between, like, ending it with a kick towards a punch? Like that, because everybody's like, it's the coolest look in the sport. The walk-off kick KO, that has to feel like there's got to be nothing better in the sport than that.
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, anybody could punch somebody and knock them out. It takes some skill to be able to get that foot of yours up to somebody's head level and put them to sleep. It takes a little bit more skill to do that as well, and finesse. So it does make a big difference on how you feel after a KO, if it's with your hands or with your feet. And your feet, it's way better than knocking somebody out with your hands, that's for sure.
Few minutes left with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, kind enough to join us here on Tapped Out. You've been in that octagon now for a long time, my guy. If I ask you what's been your favorite moment, what is it?
Oh man, there's a few favorite moments that I have. One being my very first fight in the UFC with UFC 143. It was a combination of things. I had MC Hammer walk me to the arena. And the MC Hammer walked me and my family to the arena. George St. Pierre was in my corner for that fight, which was really nasty. And of course, that crazy knockout. But then another one would probably be UFC 205 when I fought Tyron Woodley. Us, fighting to a draw, me getting knocked down 3 times, ended up in that deep guillotine, and I end up fighting out of it, and the whole place erupts, man. The whole arena, you could feel the hair standing up on your arms from the vibrations of everybody yelling. So that was another sick moment.
Can't touch this. My favorite Hammer song, but I know that,
let's go.
I know he's got a pretty good catalog. We're talking with Wonderboy Thompson here on the BetQL network. So who do you like in the BMF fight?
Oh man, dude, they're both guys are really, really good fighters. Yeah, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. But I feel like it's going to go the same way it did the first time. I feel like, Dustin Poirier's boxing is a lot cleaner. I think he keeps himself more protected than Justin Gaethje. As the fight goes on, Gaethje tends to kind of stray away from his defense and relies a lot more on his toughness, which is, you've seen him lose that way in the past. So I think it, oh man, it's like a flip of a coin, but I think it's going to go the same way it did last time.
What, like, when you go with these guys that are so chaotic, Wonderboy, like dealing with a violent fight like that, how do you tap into the instincts, man? Like, we've seen guys like Poirier, yourself, like when it's like bloody and you got to like just dig down, you versus damn Holland. Like, how do you keep technique when it is kind of just like at that animalistic part of round 4, round 5, and you still got to get through this damn thing?
Man, it's part of training, the conditioning process that we all as fighters go through. You kind of get accustomed to taking the punishment, dishing it out. You spend years being the nail before you become the hammer. And when you're out there in the fight, yeah, you may get cut or you may end up breaking a hand, but you realize that, you have a job to do out there and you got to do what it takes to get it done. And you can't give up. It's one of those, like they said, you got to either come back with your shield or you come back on it. And that's the kind of mindset you have to have when you step out there in the cage. It's that gladiator mindset. So you kind of tap into that whenever you're out there fighting.
Looking forward to the fight, 291 in Salt Lake City. Wonderboy Thompson joins us ahead of his fight against Michel Pereira. Good luck, my guy. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it, my friend. You guys have a good one.